G'day, Lee Addison from rugbyleaguecoach.com.au for the second last time this year.
Oh, wow. Will I keep my job, do you reckon?
Well, mate, I think you're safe. I've had to think about it. I think I'd like to have you back, but I'm surprised we even got you in on this episode this week, of course, with the passing of Lizzie herself.
Yeah, it's sad that somebody's lost their grandmother and mother and the rest of it. Yeah,
it is a massive thing in England, and of course the whole 10 days of mourning. So, thoughts are with your homeland. We do give a little bit of lip to your homeland at times, Lee, but we are part of the monarch ourselves. So
we are
full respects, and let's tribute this one to Queen Elizabeth herself and get straight into the Sunshine Coast Falcons.
On behalf of the nation of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, I thank you for those wishes. Now, for the second week in succession, we are looking at a game of two halves.
We really are. And that was, I was very interested to see you come up with that yourself, because it was a game of two halves that came down to golden point.
Now, obviously, in a small section like this, you're never going to really get the full view of the game. But so the principle I want the viewer to understand and take in today is what pressure can do to players. So Sunshine Coast, they should have won the week before, bear in mind the ladder, right? So then they come into the following week on the back of a defeat, playing for their future. In the first 30 minutes of the game, they look so heavy-legged. Now, I said this about the team last week, the Central Queensland team, didn't I? There's a reason for that, and there's a physiological reason for that. Basically, when you're under pressure, you go into a form of fight or flight mode, and it does affect your limbs, and it does affect your brain capacity because there's only so much blood to go around, kind of thing, to give you these. So there is actually a physiological response to the stress hormone in this scenario. And basically, that's what I think has happened. So we'll go from physiological to computerological. And I'm thinking, and after deep consideration, and I've been talking to the King. Can I share my screen? The King has given his approval. The Kinga. And here we are. We're watching Tweed attacking. They've just dropped the ball out, Sunshine Coast Falcons, and I've mentioned this many times before on the Queensland League Scene show, that building pressure, not giving away piggyback penalties, and holding the football are integral. And also, on the flip side of that, if the opposition do hold the ball and force repeat sets, that can put you under real pressure. And you just see again there that the Sunshine Coast gave away a second penalty. Now, their defensive line is not moving up fast. They look heavy-legged. They are passive in the tackle, as you can see. Can you see that, Taylor? They just look a bit heavy-legged. Number 7 there did the old Superman, swung around. They're jumping off at the ruck quite quickly. They don't seem to be attacking with any great emphasis. So they are quite passive in their collisions. There's another set here. Another repeat set. I think that fellow was called offside. That, again, is a poor decision-making. The defence is struggling to scramble. It is 6s and 7s. That's a couple of times now that there's been a dead marine at the marker where somebody's been left there, and Tweed are beating them to the punch at everything. And look, there's another error and another repeat set. So basically, if you're just taking this as a snapshot, then Tweed are applying all the pressure. And the Falcons are making all the errors. So without further ado, you get rid of the errors and get the ball down the other end of the field, then you can play some better football. But look, the defensive line isn't moving up very well. There's another dead marine, or almost dead marine. Tweed, underdogs, they've got nothing to lose in theory. They are playing really hard. They're running hard. They're moving off the ball. They've got decent shapes. And the Coast are just waiting for them. And every decision seems to be going awry. And they end up with being a try just from sustained pressure, right? So even a team a few positions below you on the ladder can score a try if they have some sustained pressure and if you allow them to have sustained pressure. We're going to look at the Falcons and see what their defence is like coming out from their own end. Again, the line speed's a bit better, but I still don't think they're on the money here. I still think they're letting Tweed up too quickly. I still think they've got more wiggle room in terms of making their line speed better. I sometimes think they're a bit too obsessed with the wrestle, with the ruck control. They maybe need to focus a little bit more on being aggressive so that you can. There's no better way of getting ruck control than absolutely whacking someone within the rules of the game, and then you get some real control. I mean, that gets a bit more like it, but again, there's another dead Marine. So this, and then we have somebody jumping out the line there and getting it slightly wrong. I mean, looking at this right now, Tweed are all over the Sunshine Coast Falcons. And again, I want to go back to that thing about pressure and what it can do to decision-making. And to me, decision-making in defence, line speed in defence, ruck decision-making in defence isn't very good at all. People are falling off tackles left, right and centre. Now, I'm not just showing you defensive clips here because in a moment we're going to see that the Sunshine Coast Falcons got a try back before half time. It's almost like they had to concede 4 tries before they went, hang on a minute, forget about that pressure. We've got nothing to lose. So almost the pressure valve of the game flipped in the middle of the game. Once Tweed were ahead, they were under pressure to win it. You can't let that lead go, can you?
No.
With 4 tries up and subsequent conversions and whatnot. I did find in that set that they were a little bit better, a little bit tighter, and of course, Tweed didn't go round all the way down the field. Now, just before half-time, the Falcons get some football down the opposite end of the field. That's a bit better with their shapes. The 7 having a dig at the line. Good hole running there from number 17. Please fill in any gaps of names for me if you need to. I like the way they tie him back in to the scrum line area here. Reminds me of a good coach that I know. But they weren't going to the opposite end of the field. They were doing a switch play, and I think that was good variety there too. They are risking it a little bit with some of those offloads, but of course now they are chasing the game.
They can.
But they have got movement or options on both sides of the ball. I like that decoy run there. I like the way that 7's having a dig at the line now. It's making the defence stay on the heels a little bit. Look at 10 and 14 moving off the ball, and I'm sorry, they were never going to stop him from there.
Yes. No, it was a really good set, and as you mentioned, there was some great ball movements there. Tight, the smoothie in and around the ruck. He's a genius there in number 9, and then Cooper Johns at 6, looking each way. So yeah, quality set there by the Falcons.
Now we've got another dead Marine there, but can you see the difference in line speed now, mate? Now
I know
they might have a system where if the play the ball is on this side of the scrum line, they've got to rush up. But ultimately, I thought they were going too slow earlier. But there's a big difference now. Falcons are actually getting away with things. And when the game turned, and this is what I'm talking about, the pressure scenario, it started to turn here because Tweed didn't convert some of their possession and field position. So therefore, earlier on, they got a repeat set and scored a try, and then another repeat set, and so on and so forth. Now they're not converting. And it's the Falcons that seem to have the light up their backsides when they're running. We're in the second half now, and I want you to just look at the difference in the Falcons' defence. Not always the outcome, but the effort and the speed. It's like they've been woken up by going down 4 tries. Look at that for line speed. Look at that. And look at that for ruck control. Completely different. Completely different. The defence is set. The back up. That's a good line. It's well controlled. Nobody's over-rushing anything. I dare say, do you remember earlier in the year when I praised the Falcons for the way they were coached?
Yes.
I think in the first half, the coach would have been tearing his hair out. This is now looking like the team that I saw earlier in the year. In fact, even better at times. We've not had any dead Marines yet, although that wasn't a perfect ruck. But better decisions are being made on the edge in defence. Better control. Okay, didn't get them to ground there, but at least they've not ended up conceding any points in that actual position. And even though they didn't end it very well there. They didn't concede. Now, here's another set to back this up. They're down at their own end of the field, and because they've got some possession now, they are on the hunt. They are the team that have got the wind on the back, if you like, or the wind behind their sails, and they've got a bit more juice in the tank. They've got a bit more vim and vigor about what they are doing. Let's have a look at some of their shapes now. It's interesting what you say about Cooper Johns. I don't know how much he played for the Sunshine Coast Falcons, so there's every chance that him returning to the team, because didn't he play for Melbourne the week before?
Yes.
It might just have taken a while for that to slip back in. But can you see the hole running that's come into play? Every attacking set I've showed you from the Falcons has looked all right. I mean, this isn't fantastic. And again, I'll go back to Johnsy coming back into the team. I don't know when the last time he played for Falcons. Do you?
No, not off the top of my head.
It could have been a while ago, couldn't it, because of the Melbourne injuries?
Yes.
And I just think they're overplaying the hand a little bit. But there's one big difference now. The Falcons are the team putting the pressure on. And Tweed have to get the ball out from their own try line. Look at the body language of Tweed here. They look like they're at Flanders Field. And they're not. They're just at a midway point-ish of the second half. Can you see, Taylor, the difference in the body language, the difference in the line speed, the difference in the collision? And I'm saying to you that I believe all of this is mental. And I will throw in there the fact that there's players that have just been dropped back in. That I mean, you're not going to not pick Cooper Johns.
Yes.
But there is an element of... what's the term I'm looking for? I don't want to use the term discombobulation again. There is that element of lack of cohesion,
yes,
and combination. But look at the defense, mate. I mean, now they're defending like a team that can win a premiership.
Yes,
aren't they?
And to be completely fair, that's the rock in which this campaign for them has been built on. They've been absolutely outstanding throughout the ruck defence. I'm just going to have a look here at the ladder to see how their defence ended up. But they were probably the best side in the comp.
And that lends itself then to my view that a lot of it was mental. A lot of it was in the head, and there was a physiological response to the pressure because they were playing sudden death semi-final football. There's that first half dead marine, but it was the third man rather than the second man. So, yeah, there's just a massive difference, absolutely massive difference. That wasn't obviously a great defensive decision, but, mate, they didn't end up in any trouble from any of that.
Absolutely. Well, that's the Sunshine Coast Falcons, a game of two halves. We've done that 2 weeks in a row. We seem to have found games where two halves were completely separate. But the Falcons, of course, take on the North Devils this weekend in a preliminary final down there at Bishop Park. So interesting to see if they pull through on the other side and do contest for the 2022 Hostplus Cup, to see what sort of form they bring in, if they can start as strong as they did in that second half for this whole game.
Absolutely.
Lee Addison, rugbyleaguecoach.com.au. Ladies and gentlemen, there's not long left. You may be coming into a grand final this weekend. If you want a little help from my friend here, Lee Addison, feel free to contact him through our social media. Any of his social medias is very active on there, so you can find him quite easily. rugbyleaguecoach.com.au. Thank you, Lee. We'll leave you
to it. Thank you, kind sir.